We live in an era of unprecedented connectivity. Our smartphones pulsate with notifications, social networks connect us with thousands of people, and messengers allow us to instantly send a message to the other side of the planet. Never before has humanity been so technologically interconnected. But the paradox of our time is that record digital proximity is accompanied by an epidemic of loneliness. We are drowning in an ocean of superficial contacts, losing the ability for deep emotional immersion. Likes and short messages create an illusion of connection, masking a growing chasm between souls. Technologies have not just changed the ways we communicate, they have transformed the very nature of human intimacy. What have we gained and what have we lost in this transformation? How can we find a balance between digital possibilities and genuine emotional connection? Is it possible to preserve the depth of relationships in a world where attention is fragmented among dozens of chats and news feeds? The history of human communication is a journey from carefully preserved handwritten letters to fleeting messenger messages. Once, a letter was an event. It was written for hours, pouring one's soul into every line, waited for weeks, reread for years. The paper held the warmth of hands, traces of tears, the scent of perfume, a physical embodiment of the sender's feelings. 19th century letters reveal the depth of emotional connection that this unhurried communication created. The telegraph accelerated the transmission of information but reduced the volume of messages. The telephone brought back the voice to communication with its intonations, pauses, laughter. A living emotion, but deprived us of the ability to carefully consider every word. Email combined the speed of the telegraph with the volume of letters, yet lost the materiality of the message. And the advent of messengers finally turned communication into a stream of short phrases, emojis, and voice messages. We gained the ability to be constantly in touch, but lost the ritual of waiting and anticipation. Each technological leap made communication faster and more accessible, but also changed its emotional depth. We no longer write multi-page confessions, we send a heart emoji. We don't wait weeks for a letter. We get nervous if we don't receive a reply in 5 minutes. We live in an era of continuous connection. Our smartphones are not just devices. They have become digital leashes, keeping us in a state of constant availability. A message sent at 2 in the morning creates a silent expectation of a reply. Blue read receipts turn into a silent accusation. You saw it but didn't reply. This always-on mode shapes a new psychological reality. We no longer just communicate, we are in a state of permanent communicative readiness. Psychologists note an increase in anxiety associated with the expectation of an instant reaction. The absence of a reply within an hour causes worry, and after a day, real panic. A person who doesn't respond to messages is perceived as ignoring or even hostile. Paradoxically, the ability to be always connected creates a new form of emotional pressure. Personal boundaries blur when a colleague can write on a weekend and an ex-partner at 3 in the morning. We lose the right to unavailability, to time alone. Excessive communication leads to emotional burnout. The constant stream of messages exhausts emotional resources, turning communication into a mechanical exchange of information. We reply automatically, without putting our soul into it, just to maintain the connection. Thus, technology, meant to bring us closer, paradoxically creates distance. We are always connected, but less and less truly present in the conversation. Yellow emojis, hearts, and stickers have become the new language of emotions in the 21st century. We express joy with a winking face, sadness with a crying one, love with a red heart. Emojis have filled the void left by the loss of nonverbal communication in the digital space. When we don't see facial expressions, don't hear intonation, don't feel touch, small pictures become emotional anchors of messages. It's one thing to write, "okay," and quite another to write, "okay." Studies show that our brain reacts to emojis almost like real facial expressions. We truly feel an emotional response when we see a smiling or sad emoji. But are these digital symbols capable of conveying the full palette of human experiences? Can we express a complex feeling of guilt mixed with hope with a single sticker? The problem is exacerbated by cultural differences in interpretation. The same emoji can be perceived differently depending on age, culture, and even the device. The smiley you sent as a friendly smile might be interpreted as a sarcastic smirk. The rolling eyes emoji is often understood by older generations as an expression of tiredness, not irritation. Thus, the language of visual symbols creates an illusion of understanding, masking real communicative barriers. Social networks have become showcases of our lives, where everyone displays only the best exhibits. Filters hide skin imperfections, carefully chosen angles mask the mundane, and captions create an illusion of constant happiness. We see perfect vacations, flawless relationships, and stunning achievements. But we never see quarrels, tears, and moments of despair. This digital showcase forms a distorted perception of reality. Research shows, the more time a person spends on social media, the stronger their feeling that others' lives are better, brighter, and happier. This gives rise to a phenomenon that psychologists call, quote, "We compare our raw reality with retouched versions of others' lives." In the context of relationships, this is particularly destructive. Couples begin to compare their daily routines with idealized images of other relationships. A normal dinner at home seems dull against the backdrop of romantic dates in the feed. The habit of sharing personal matters transforms the very nature of intimacy. When every significant moment is recorded for the public, the question arises, are we truly experiencing it or merely creating content? A romantic gesture planned for a beautiful post loses its intimacy. Psychologists note a paradox. The public display of intimate experiences blurs their authenticity. Intimacy requires vulnerability and sincerity, qualities that rarely find a place in the idealized picture for social networks. We see the interlocutor on the screen, hear their voice, observe their facial expressions, and yet something subtly eludes us. Video calls create an illusion of presence, remaining merely its digital projection. Psychologists call this the phenomenon of presence without presence. We see the person, but we don't feel their energy in the space. Studies show that our brain perceives video communication differently from live contact. A whole spectrum of nonverbal cues is absent. Smells, micro-expressions, natural synchronization of movements. We cannot accidentally touch hands or feel a change in the interlocutor's breathing. The camera captures only a fragment of reality, often distorting proportions and limiting body language. The phenomenon of Zoom fatigue has become a new psychological reality. The constant strain of having to look at the camera, monitor one's appearance on the screen, and simultaneously concentrate on the conversation exhausts emotional resources. We are forced to exert more effort to interpret the interlocutor's signals, compensating for the lack of a full sensory experience. Paradoxically, the technology designed to bring us closer creates a new form of distance. We can talk for hours on a video call with a loved one, but still feel emotionally hungry. Neurobiologists explain, physical presence triggers the production of oxytocin, the hormone of attachment, which is not fully activated during digital contact. Video calls are an invaluable tool for maintaining relationships at a distance, but they remain a substitute, not a full equivalent of live communication. "I miss you so much, it's a physical ache," she writes, sending the message across half the globe. A few seconds later, the reply comes, "I feel the same." Long-distance relationships have become the new norm in an era of global mobility and digital technologies. Couples separated by oceans build emotional intimacy in virtual spaces. Technology offers unprecedented opportunities. A morning video call over breakfast, watching a movie together via streaming services, virtual dates in shared online spaces. Partners develop complex rituals of digital intimacy, sending photos of everyday moments, using apps that synchronize heartbeats via smartwatches, leaving voice messages before bed. However, digital intimacy has its limitations. Research shows that the lack of tactile contact creates a unique form of emotional hunger. The inability to hug, to smell, to share physical space leaves a void that even the most advanced technologies cannot fill. Psychologists note the phenomenon of phantom presence, where a partner feels simultaneously close and unattainable. Successful long-distance couples develop strategies to overcome this gap. They plan regular meetings, send physical gifts, and create shared projects. They understand that technology is not a replacement for reality, but a bridge to it. In a world of continuous notifications and parallel chats, our attention has become a scarce resource. We no longer fully immerse ourselves in a conversation. We are only partially present, simultaneously managing several communication streams. Psychologists call this fragmented attention, a state where the brain constantly switches between tasks without fully engaging in any of them. The phenomenon of phubbing, neglecting a live interlocutor for the sake of a smartphone, has become a symbol of this new reality. Two people sit at dinner, physically close but emotionally in different worlds, engrossed in their screens. Studies show that even the mere presence of a phone on the table reduces the quality of conversation and the level of empathy between interlocutors. Our brain is incapable of effectively processing multiple streams of emotionally significant information. When we try to simultaneously maintain a conversation and check messages, both suffer. Neuroscientists explain, deep emotional connection requires full presence. When attention is divided, we miss microsignals, subtle changes in voice, barely noticeable facial expressions, which constitute the essence of emotional communication. Multitasking creates an illusion of efficiency, but in reality, it becomes a barrier to genuine intimacy. We exchange information, but lose the ability to truly feel each other. The digital age gives birth to new rituals of expressing care and attention. Evening video calls before bed become the modern equivalent of a goodnight kiss. Couples in different cities turn on video calls during dinner, creating the illusion of a shared meal. Families organize virtual birthdays where relatives from different parts of the world blow out candles on a cake simultaneously through screens. These digital rituals form a new structure for maintaining relationships where the regularity of contact is often valued more than its physical nature. Unique forms of digital gifts emerge. Playlists created specifically for a loved one, virtual postcards with personal photos, subscriptions to services reflecting a partner's interests. Intimate codes and personal emojis appear in messengers, their meaning understood only by two. A morning message with a heart or a nighttime voice wish become anchors of stability in relationships. Studies show participants in communication attribute deep emotional significance to these digital rituals. For many, a daily good morning in a messenger is not just a greeting, but a confirmation. I'm thinking of you. You are important to me. Joint online activities, watching a movie remotely, playing a game as a team, virtual museum tours. Create a shared experience and memories even with physical separation. Intimacy in the digital age has acquired new, paradoxical forms. We exchange intimate confessions through screens, entrust our personal photos to cloud services, and share our location with selected individuals. Technology has created a unique space where closeness is possible without physical presence. However, this new form of intimacy exists in constant contradiction. On the one hand, digital channels allow us to open up from a distance. People often admit that they can be more candid in messaging than in person. The screen creates an illusion of protection, reducing the fear of vulnerability. On the other hand, this same digital environment makes our intimacy fragile and permeable. Messages can be copied, photos saved, conversations recorded. The personal potentially becomes public with a single click. The boundaries of privacy blur when an intimate moment can be saved, transmitted, or even used against us. We exist in a paradoxical state. We feel protected when sharing intimate details, but in reality, we become more vulnerable. The very nature of digital data, its durability, replicability, and potential accessibility, creates a fundamental contradiction with the traditional understanding of intimacy as something ephemeral, existing only between two people at a specific moment in time. In a world of continuous notifications and endless news feeds, we risk losing what is most valuable, the depth of human relationships. But technology, which has changed the nature of intimacy, can also become a tool for its preservation. The key is a conscious approach and the establishment of healthy digital boundaries. Start by creating gadget-free zones. The bedroom, the dining table, walking time. These spaces can become islands of genuine presence. Studies show that families who practice joint dinners without phones demonstrate a higher level of emotional connection. Regular digital detox is not a luxury, but a necessity. A day without social networks, weekends without work email, a vacation with minimal smartphone use. These practices allow the brain and heart to restore the ability for deep contact. Reconsider your digital habits. Replace automatic notification checks with a conscious decision on when exactly you are ready to enter the information space. Set specific times for replying to messages instead of a constant availability mode. Learn to use technology to enrich, not replace, relationships. Joint travel planning via a shared online map. Creating a family album in cloud storage. A video call to grandma from the whole family. Technology can strengthen, not blur, intimacy. Remember, the quality of attention is more important than its quantity. 5 minutes of full presence is more valuable than an hour of divided attention. Technologies will continue to evolve, offering increasingly sophisticated ways of digital interaction. Virtual reality will allow us not just to see our interlocutor, but to feel their presence in the same space. Haptic interfaces will create the illusion of touch across distances. Artificial intelligence will learn to recognize our emotional states more accurately than even close friends and family. But even in this technologically saturated future, the fundamental choice will remain paramount. Whether to use technology as a tool to enrich our relationships or to allow it to replace genuine intimacy. The key word here is mindfulness. We must learn to choose the appropriate communication channel depending on the situation and the depth of connection we wish to create. A video call is ideal for weekly chats with distant relatives, but it won't replace a shared dinner with a partner. A voice message will convey urgent information, but it won't compare to a long conversation over a cup of tea. Technologies should amplify, not substitute, real contacts. They can help maintain long-distance connections, coordinate meetings, share moments. But true intimacy will always demand full presence. Ultimately, emotional connection is not an exchange of information, but an exchange of presence. And our task is to find a balance where technologies serve as bridges between moments of genuine intimacy rather than becoming its surrogate.